For many of us, and I am included in this, watching events through the news or social media can fill us with a sense of dread and despair that we are beyond just going off the rails, but that we are descending into some form of collective madness from which we may not escape. And if we were to continue bathing ourselves in the endless rounds of opining and analysing, where people are caught in a form of confirmation bias, then the downfall of the Roman or Han empires seems like a Christmas party to what we think we are facing. And for many, especially those of us who live a spiritual life, we very much hold that this is symptomatic of the Kali Yuga. But for some, this term may not make sense. And it's important to understand the Kali Yuga, not under the paradigm or the model built over the last 2,000 years, where time is seen as a linear process with a creation point, and as we move towards apocalypse and salvation. This view of time is more cyclic. And we find this idea of cyclic time in Mesoamerica, the Maya, the Olmec, the Aztec. Certainly it's quite possible the Etruscans saw time as cyclical. And when we move over into Asia, this idea of cyclic time is very much a part of the software of the spiritual paths that have flourished up until the end of the 20th century. So what is the Kali Yuga? Well, Yuga means age. And Kali is the goddess of vengeance, destruction. She's seen as a compatriot of Shiva, as the wrathful aspect of Parvati, his wife. But in this context, all it refers to is a time of degeneration, negativity, and harshness. So when we look at these ages, we see that as they are written down in the Bhagavata Purana, the wisdom teachings, and the Mahabharata, the great song, the epic of Indian civilization, that there are 4 of these ages, and that each of these ages, or yugas, is a stage in the moral and spiritual evolution of what at the moment is humanity. And so what are these 4 ages? Well, the first one, of course, is the Satya Yuga, or the Krita Yuga. And this is the first and most virtuous age. And it's characterized by the qualities of truth, righteousness, and harmony, and lasts for a total of 1,728,000 years. And in this, people live long, wise, peaceful lives, and we are said to have a close relationship with the divine. The second yuga is the Treta Yuga, This lasts for 1,296,000 years. And in here, righteousness diminishes slightly and virtues to begin to decline. This is the era, for instance, when, if you are familiar with this story, that the epic of the Ramayana takes place, and the story of Lord Rama, Hanuman, and Sita, his beloved. The next of these ages are the Dvapara Yuga. And this is a third age, and it lasts 864,000 years. And there's a further decline in morality and righteousness, and duality becomes more prominent. Light, dark, good, bad, virtuous, unvirtuous. And this age is the age when it is said that the epic, the Mahabharata, which includes the Bhagavad Gita, the great wisdom literature where Krishna teaches the Dharma of how we must live according to our karmas. And the fourth and last stage, which is the one we are in, and that lasts 864,000 years. The fourth age, which is the one we're in, is said to last 432,000 years. And this is an age of significant decline in virtue and an increase in negativity, chaos, and a general discord for dharma, whether that is righteousness or following a virtuous path. And this yuga is very much seen as one that is defined by breakdown in social order, loss of values, and a pervasive materialism. And people are seen to become increasingly selfish and corrupt. And in this, there are certain qualities, four in particular, and these are moral decline, social disorder, spiritual decline, and shorter lifespans. It was held that in previous ages we lived for very, very, very long lifespans in some of them, the further back we go. But in seeing that this is the Kali Yuga, of course, is very useful when you're receiving teachings and you're told, no, this is an age when doing spiritual tasks, living the mystical and spiritual life is difficult. And as a result, you are able to generate greater karma, good karma, because doing these virtuous acts is so difficult. And this is the secret. In many ways, the Kali Yuga is an illusion, as are all the yugas. And whilst the term Kali by itself can mean darkness or ignorance, what is often viewed that this is a time of Maya, of illusion, where we are distracted from our true nature. Now, in many, many texts of spirituality, what they talk about is that we must turn away from illusion and see our own true natures and foster the light within us. In Western literature, this would be framed within a Gnostic framework, in that the world we live in is a world created by a demiurge, or at least the illusion of it, and our light is trapped within, and we must work to free ourselves from the darkness all around us. Likewise, we must free ourselves from the darkness of Maya, of illusion. But how to do this? for those of a despairing and limited nature, that is, they have a limited view of their own empowerment, they can focus on doing virtuous deeds, and this is a generator of great good karma. For those of a more middling persuasion, they can engage in spiritual practices, in the practice of sacred arts, tantra, magics, the mystical arts, but ones where we seek to repair the universe and to spread light, not just to accumulate wealth and glory to ourselves, as tempting and as pleasurable as that may be. Those of a higher nature, they seek liberation by looking at illusion and not engaging with it, by seeing it exactly as it is and residing just in natural awareness, neither grasping nor rejecting. And this is the highest yoga, sometimes called Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, Mahamudra, the highest levels of gnosis. But this is the great gift of the age. If we are born in the first age, then doing virtuous actions are easy. In which case, we need to ask ourselves, are they actually virtuous, or simply the way of being? Whereas in this age, where it is as if we are surrounded by some spiritual gel that slows our ability to act quickly, but that's what makes the challenge better, and that's what hones the blade of our mind better. And so when I see, and sometimes become a little overwhelmed by the negativity around me, I return to that throne, that sacred space of spirituality, and dance and become free, neither seeing it as an illusion or as non-illusion, but simply as it is, so that I neither despair nor do I rejoice. Does this mean I'm miserable? No. The spiritual practice of joy is a practice by itself, and it's a transformative, a tantric practice. And this goes in as part of the path. But when we look at the age we live in and we see that we are becoming mired in negativity and despair, it is important to see that what it is that is miring us in that despair is of itself an illusion. And the secret to all illusions is they can only maintain themselves for so long, and then they begin to dissipate as we who bring light into the world transform it and shine a light into the dark places. And in so doing, transform the darkness into light, shining as a beacon to those who have become frozen by the Medusa of the world of illusion, in which we sometimes find ourselves trapped. And in so doing, we are free. May you find your path to freedom. May you find the light which allows you to lift the pearl of your consciousness from the dark waters beneath into the bright sunlight in the air. And in so doing, may you live a life blessed with spirituality, mysticism, and above all, joy.